Hello and welcome back to our still as of yet unnamed podcast. Although, update on that, right? I think I've told you, Elise, or I don't know if Artie or Tharies, I don't know who was around, but we may have settled on a name. We may have.
You can't settle on a name with one of us.
Was this the one you suggested last night?
Yeah, but we'll keep it as a secret because it's going to change everything. Just like next week's episode, the Interstellar Song Contest. So stick around to hear our thoughts on Interstellar Song Contest and more pointless teasing like that. But we may finally have a name. That doesn't mean you shouldn't keep suggesting them, though, because it's like the audition process for the 15th Doctor. We've got one in mind, but if a Shooty Gatwa comes in at the last minute, we'll be like, boom. So keep your comments
coming.
Did
they have one in mind?
According to Russell, yeah. And then Shooty did the audition and they were like, yeah, we'll go with him instead.
God, you'd feel awful as the second place, wouldn't you? That'd be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, this guy's done a bunch of recalls and he's like, I'm going to be the next Doctor.
Oh man, or woman. They could have been anyone. We don't know.
There was like Amazing Spider-Man 2, you know, that one scene where he's like trying to like throw Harry Osborn off the set. Spider-Man or a woman? We don't know for sure. It's just
we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
we were just saying before we start recording, this is I think the only time we've gone into this knowing no one else's opinions. I don't know if maybe Joe and Faris, you've watched each other's videos or if you've been too busy making your own.
You think I watch his videos?
Yeah.
You don't know.
All he does is look at my thumbnails. That's the only exchange.
Joe doesn't need to watch Faris's videos. He's already read and recorded them himself.
Two acknowledgements. One, Tharies thought we were starting 8, thus has ordered a takeaway. So if we disappear briefly for a little intermission, Tharies is... What did you order? What was your takeaway?
There's a Chinese. I got some fried rice and some noodles.
That's the way.
Fair enough. Yeah, at some point that'll happen. And also, Rosanna sadly can't be with us this week, so I don't know. What can we say in the comments? Everyone send Rosanna a happy message. What?
Maybe they should braid some hair into a map so she can find her way back to the podcast.
What a smooth
topical.
We'll dive straight into the review of this week's episode, the story and the engine.
I think that my opinion is quite predictable in that I think it was mid. It was mid. It wasn't bad. I thought it was a really cool idea for an episode, but I just thought the execution was a bit messy. But I enjoyed it. It was Monster of the Week Doctor Who, with some interesting specifics that I'm sure we'll get into.
Where does it compare from Lucky Day? Because last week you basically slated that poor story within an inch of its life.
Well, look, Lucky Day. I felt I had to criticise it because you all liked it so much.
Restore the balance.
But Lucky Day was like, I can't remember what I gave it. I think I gave it a 4. I would give this one like a
4.
Did I?
It was. I think it was a 4. Oh. I think you gave it a 4.
4.
Maybe I just zoned out by that point.
Well, I'm going to give this one like a 5, 6 out of 10. It was.
You've jumped to the ending segment.
Oh, okay. So I don't know what I would give this one.
In the words of Russell T Davies, please keep watching.
Please come back. Please come back.
Please come back.
Yeah, I thought it was better than Lucky Day fundamentally because it had the Doctor in, and I thought Shooty was. It wasn't his strongest week, but I thought he was a good Doctor in this episode. But yeah,
I think he really elevates all of these episodes. Like his performance in season 2, there's not really been a single moment where I've been a bit iffy on it. Like as I've said before, that infamous scene in the giggle, which I won't complain about now because I've done enough complaining. But there's just a couple of moments where like Shooty's Doctor.
But even if I remember correctly, even in season 1, you were a bit like.
Yeah, there's just a couple of moments where it's like it felt like Shooty Gat were playing the Doctor, whereas this feels like the Doctor. Like, do you know, there's no point where I'm thinking, oh, that's an actor making a choice. It is just the Doctor is like living and breathing within the episode, which is cool.
I enjoyed this one. I've been thinking about it a lot actually because I think it's a really good. Like I think what Artie said is like it's really good premise. I do think that this one, I think some of the dialogue is slightly a bit more like clunky in places than a couple of the previous weeks, in my opinion. And I think that might be partly because, I mean, he's done a great job, don't get me wrong. I still think it's a good episode, but in You Are Ellen's, it's his first TV script, I believe. I think he hails from...
I think this is the big thing that I really
from
noticed.
Theatre, doesn't he?
Yeah, it felt like a play.
Yes.
Like all of the dialogue, all of the stuff. Yeah, I kept picturing like the big spider. You could do like a big puppet, all the projections while they're talking.
That makes so much sense.
Because he's really, really well known for a stage play called The Barber Chronicles, which Russell saw. And obviously, they've all told different stories. Russell's gone, I contacted him. Inua, the writer, has gone, I contacted Russell. Shooty's gone, I told Russell to contact him. So I don't know where it came from, but wherever it was, Russell saw that play and was like, this is cool. Imagine the doctor walks into the barbershop, what happens? Which I think you can really tell, like in a good way, because I enjoyed it in that.
Oh, for sure. Like I think it's interesting, but I think it comes obviously because I think it's such a different flavour of storytelling almost that it almost comes across as a little bit jarring. Not even that it's bad in and of itself, just that it feels kind of different, especially compared to obviously the last few weeks that have been very much, obviously, largely Russell joints. Obviously, we've had Pete McTeague. Yeah. Pete McTeague's also written Doctor Who before, so we kind of know what we're in for. But maybe that's a good thing as well, that like this felt different as well.
This is the thing. It felt very fresh, but still tonally the same season. Like season 1 was jumping around all over the place. I felt like it was nice to have a breath of fresh air of something different.
I agree.
They've definitely got like a consistent vibe for this season, which is obviously where series 1 massively lacked.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing I wanted to say is just I think there's a lot of moments in this that I really love, and I really love that they've done this story because it shows like what can be added by like going to these other parts of the world and stuff. Yeah. And it's something I really wanted to see them explore different cultures now that we have a different doctor, really delve into that sort of stuff. And I thought that was really, seeing that different perspective was just really interesting and really like refreshing, I thought. Because it's not a story you can really, like, you could have other doctors in it, but it wouldn't feel the same fundamentally. Like the story fundamentally is a 15th Doctor story. It's built as a 15th Doctor story. You know how like Boom, for example, feels like it could be the 12th Doctor and Clara? Yeah. This feels like it could only be 15's story, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the first times where it feels like the 60th anniversary's characterisation has carried on. Because this feels like a doctor that has gone through that bi-generation, he's had his therapy, he's accepting of like having a family, having a home, interacting with humans, not having all of that trauma. And I think it's... Yes. If we always got this characterisation of 15 from the giggle onwards, he would definitely be up there with like the top doctors because it feels so different and so fresh.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think just there's just moments, isn't there, of him like just interacting with the community and kind of just being a part of that's really refreshing compared to I'm the last of my kind. You are beyond me. You do not understand.
Yeah, I'm
me,
sure there's
mortals.
More of that to come. But Elise, what were your thoughts?
I had a lot of different opinions when I was watching this episode. Like I would see a bit and go, oh, I really like that. And then I'd see a bit and I'd be like, don't like how that was done, or I don't like how that was implemented. Overall, I did enjoy it. I can see why Artie thought it was mid. I think in the grand scheme of Doctor Who, it's an okay episode. I agree with you guys in the sense that it does fit the vibe of this era, but it is new. I think there was a real problem with the flow of the episode. But I don't know how to, because I really like the fact that it was mostly just sat in that shop in the barbers, and I really liked that. But then I feel like I've watched it twice today because the first time I didn't really understand what was going on, and I'm locked into Doctor Who, and I was just like, what? Hang on, what? I mean, we'll get into it, but I have like a lot of opinions on this week. Some good, some bad, some in the middle. But yeah, it really, like, I don't know, I watched it and I was like, I don't know how to feel about that. And then I rewatched it and I definitely did enjoy it more on the rewatch because I felt like I understood more of what was going on.
William Hartnell's back.
Off to a great start.
What said? So you mentioned that the flow of the episode was like a bit messed up, and I do think that was like my main thing which brought it down, because I love the idea that he's trapped in this room that's powering a spaceship where you have to tell stories, but like I think the biggest issue with it and the thing that disrupted with the flow was the villain. I felt like he was so unthreatening because they were all just sort of stood in this room with this guy, and which is like a vibe you can go. But then if you're going to do that, he shouldn't. He was given this like dramatic voice and talking so slow. I felt like the episode would have been helped so much if he was a bit kookier and a bit funnier. Like there's the line he says where he says, "I used to call it the World Wide Web until the human race named that after something so ugly." That's clearly a joke line, but he said it so slow and dramatically. I wasn't a massive fan of the villain.
It's funny you should say that, because he's one of the best parts for me. Yeah. I really liked that.
I really liked his performance.
Yeah, no,
I thought he felt like because also I get what you're saying in terms of the kookiness aspect, but I feel like often in Doctor Who you get the sort of archetypal 2008 Batman Joker. What film's the Heath Ledger Joker from? They do that thing with the Master. They do that with so many, like, oh, let's make them hyperactive, scary. I really liked, because once again it feels like a stage play. It was more dramatic and a little bit Shakespearean and a little bit more. And do you know what? I thought the whole thing like felt almost like watching a play. Like, because there were even little bits where, like, you know, like Belinda gets, like, she knocks over something in the market or whatever, and then we never see how she gets out of that situation. But it almost, like, in my head, it's like that's when the lights go down, and then in a minute,
the intermission.
Like, it's like you can see. I feel like it was very much, and the dialogue as well felt, obviously Moffat gives us poetic dialogue, but the dialogue felt quite poetic at points and very like stage play.
There's some really nice lines in there. I mean, I love the six word story that he tells about himself. It's like, I born, I die, I'm born. I just think it's such a simple phrase, but I just think
I didn't like it.
I hated that.
Like, it's so clunky. Like when the episode's all about story and like not really poetry, but I'm born, I die, I'm born is so clunky. I thought it was like when he says, "Oh,
you come up with a poem in 6 words." Then
I don't have to. I'm not a world-acclaimed writer, but like, but you know, when he says to I was going to say Margaret Thatcher, but I mean Harriet Jones. When he says to Harriet Jones, "I can bring your word down in 6 words," and then it's, "Don't you think she looks a bit tired?" That is so like clever and sort of unexpected. But as soon as he said, "I'm bored," where it was going, as soon as the first 2 words were said, and I don't know, it didn't work for me, that bit. At least, what were you about to say?
Yeah, well, I'm with you, but I think it was just another aspect that I was just like, I felt like I was playing catch up for the whole episode, because I was trying to work out, oh, he's a Nancy. Oh, no, he's not a Nancy. Oh, he writes for Nancy. Right, okay. And then there was the whole, which I think was a really interesting idea of the Nancy's daughter and the Doctor, like, again, being reckless and not realising that, you know, his actions have consequences, which is something we've come back to a lot through this series. I did feel like I was playing a bit of catch up with that as well. I don't feel like that packed as much emotional weight, because it was just like, oh, I've seen you before. Oh yeah, and all of this happened off screen, and that's fine every now and then. But like I could deal with that with the Barbara relationship. I was like, that's great. I can trust the Doctor that he's had this relationship, and I can trust that he feels that. And then it was like, oh, but I'm also having to trust that this whole thing has happened as well, and that's what we're getting the conclusion to right now, even though I wasn't really invested in that, because you've just told me as you're telling the end of it.
I think it's here. I think. So I will be back in a second.
We'll have a brief intermission for Thary's takeaway. Comment down below or in the live chat what your Chinese takeaway order would be.
I like being a vegetarian.
Well, it's good for you, but don't do it in front of my kids.
Guys, what do we think about my hair? I literally hate it so much. It's so short.
It looks like... I'll speak.
It's been
I had a
cut.
haircut as well.
It's great.
I hate it so much.
Why?
I've cried
It just looks
twice.
like your hair.
But it looks like how I looked in like... This is so like Echo's Return. I hate it.
It doesn't look like that.
Were you not a fan of the look, Artie?
Okay.
No, I'm not passing a judgment, but it doesn't look like that.
I had a haircut as well, guys. I just thought I'd,
I had a haircut as well, to be fair.
Here we go.
Artie should have a haircut, but...
We'll pour some of our sauces and then we'll...
But we'll dive back in here because, as you can see, guys, Tharies has acquired his takeaway. But don't you worry, he's eaten all the chicken balls. What have you still got left?
Yeah. I've just got my noodles and my fried rice.
You saved the noodles for when you were going to be back on recording.
Rosanna was eating noodles like 2 weeks ago. Look, if Rosanna gets a turn to be unprofessional, this is my turn, right? I'm taking my turn.
Hashtag fire Tharies in the comments, please.
At least I showed up. No, we love you, Rosanna.
But we'll dive back to where we were with Elise's point, which I can't remember, but Elise, if you remember it,
yes, it was about the 6 words thing, because I was talking about how I felt like we had to just sort of trust them with a lot of things, which I don't mind, but I feel like there are a lot of things that I feel like there's not much emotional payout for me. It's almost like a bit of a sequel episode, but I'm not really getting much of that. Are you laughing at Tharies eating?
Seeing Tharies chomping away, sorry. But
carry on. But yeah, and then when it came to the Ernest Hemingway thing, I didn't really maybe there was a book earlier. What did he say? Like I saw some books. I didn't get the reference to it. It felt more like, because he said at the end, when I next see you, you can give me your 6-word story. It felt like a line for the sake of payoff, and I was just like, it's just setting up things in that sense. Though, like I said, there was a lot I did like about the episode, but so much of it, I think, came down to that kind of, this is put in there for this point and this is put in there for this point, and that I think did really impact the flow as I was watching.
I think it's one of those episodes similar to 73 Yards, but I think this works more than the ending of 73 Yards, where it's more vibe-based. It's very based on vibes, aesthetic, and the feeling you get while watching, rather than like a strict Doctor Who story logic.
Although I did really like, because I've spoken before, I'm not a big fan of 73 Yards because I had no idea what was going on. I didn't care by the end.
Unlike Mal, who's a massive fan, he loves 73 Yards.
Bit bizarre. But the one thing I did really enjoy about this episode was I feel like I really like the character motivations, because I know Artie was talking about not necessarily liking the characterization of the villain. I see where you're coming from. I don't know if I've worked up my own opinion on that, but you guys do. I do think that I liked the character motivation of it. They did feel like real characters. They weren't just props for the episode. I like it when, one episode companions do something, like they actually have a backstory behind them. They're not just there to deliver lines. And while, some of them were just there to go, but I've got a child. You can't kill me. I've got a child.
The worst instance of that was at the end of the episode when one of the guys, literally, I think it's the only line that fully took me out of the plot. He goes, "I'm going to find my brother and mother and father."
I heard that, yeah.
Good for you, mate.
I thought the same thing. It's so obviously like an ADR'd in line as well. They had to add that in afterwards.
It's like, in The Simpsons when the dog character's like, "I have to go, my home planet needs me."
Yeah. I will say, I do really like the Doctor's relationship with Omo. I think it's really sweet. I think it's really nice. Like the opening bit of, he saved him from a fire, and then ever since then, he's been a regular at the head. It's not a ton there, but it feels genuine. I
liked the betrayal as well, because for Ncuti to because they put such an emphasis on the community and he feels safe there. That's his place, and then for Omo to be such and as well, because I don't know if any of you guys have read it, but there's a little prequel story written about the Doctor and Omo meeting, which you can read on the BBC website.
I actually didn't get around to it. I was meaning to.
It's pretty good, and it adds more to it as well. It's It's a nice, it's good. It's good.
And also because he didn't betray him just for the sake of being like a bad character.
Yeah.
You could really clearly see he wanted to protect those younger boys, and he was like, I need to get these people home.
Yeah.
And the doctor, and it is bad, but he he doesn't have a home and he's got so many stories to tell. And he did use him for that, but I was still like, you know what? It's a bad thing to do, but like, fair enough, mate.
You understand the logic. You understand the logic of it as well. And I also
Elise would have done that in that situation.
I
Which one else would you have
sacrificed?
sacrificed?
Faris could waffle for the longest, but Joe's probably got the more stories. Artie would, stumble out a sentence very slowly, and then the ship would just crash in the background. So.
It would start. He was talking, and it would start like when a car starts like sparking out, and it's like, and it's just not. It's not
Artie,
going.
don't have the disrespect.
I'll also say I really liked. I'm just moving on.
No chance to reply. No chance.
You don't get it right. No, I really liked the motivation of the villain as well, actually. And I liked that he was redeemable because from his perspective, he's been basically forced into servitude of the gods. So he's like, I hate all of you guys. I want to get rid of you. Which I
did think, though, this bit was a bit confusing. What on earth?
Yes.
What he serves the gods? Are the gods? Well, how can he destroy the gods? Does he serve the gods? How did he create this world?
Also, how did that little tambourine he made become a supermassive, massive vortex thing?
Magic.
I thought. See, this is the thing that, I thought so much of it was underdeveloped in a way that I didn't quite understand because they had this great idea of the stories appearing on the wall, and they used that at the beginning and established the Doctor's relationship with Fire Guy Omo really well, and I thought that was great. And considering how much of it felt underdeveloped, like you were saying earlier, Elise, with the relationship between the Doctor and Anansi's daughter, and also the origins.
Abner?
I don't know,
yeah,
and also. Remember. The origin story of the villain, why weren't also the Hemingway thing? If you wanted to set that up more, why weren't those aspects given through the stories they tell and in these lovely painted sequences on the wall? I thought so much of it was underdeveloped, which I didn't understand because they had this great motif of the story wall.
And then using that story. I'm sorry.
Oh, you go on. No, that's all right. You go on.
Just really quickly on the story wall, I loved that visually at the start, and then suddenly the Doctor told a story, and it was shot in a 4K camera. And I was
that feels budget.
They do give a line to say because it's so vivid, it's more realistic or something. I think
they do say, don't they?
They do give a line. I thought, the bit towards the end where he's using basically, his past as the Doctor to basically overpower the spider. I thought, though, wouldn't it have been neat? And I saw someone else suggest this on Twitter, so I'm not going to claim it as my own. So credit to them. I can't remember their name. But they said, wouldn't it have been cool if instead of it being screens of the old Doctors, if they'd done those painted murals, but of the other Doctors' adventures? So you had basically the flashbacks, but it would be in the style of the opening scene, which I think would have just been really nice. I think that would be really cool. Again, it's probably a budget thing, most likely.
And that would have avoided the absolutely, oh my God, it was my least favourite moment of the whole episode, is we had, when it was playing all of the different Doctor things, and it was when you fire that first shot, no matter how right you go, you don't know what, you don't know who's going to die. Cut to, when people need help, I never refuse. And I was like, shut up. I can't, because I was like, oh my God, it's anti-war. When people need help, I never refuse.
Didn't really think. I get
Oh.
that they use those moments to bring back like fan favorite bits of episodes, but I thought the
favourites the blast
no, but
read all of June. When people need help,
the Capaldi line, I thought was the one that was out of place, because most of the other lines were the Doctor doing some kind of "I'm the Doctor, look how great I am," and then it cuts to Capaldi and he's just like, "Don't do war, you prick." I thought Capaldi was the one out of place.
This is they got
I didn't mind the
second
line.
bunch of haters because Farmer George, my old housemate, for context of the audience, he messages me going, "Oh, like I'll do his Gloucestershirean voice." He was like, "Oh, I'm absolutely loving the episode." And then when people need help, I never refuse. And I was just like, "Oh, bugger off!" And it's like, no, I like it.
No, it's horrible. It's the most. I like Jodie. I like Jodie's the Doctor, but that line is just the most shut up.
I think we found.
When people need help,
Elise's the giggle line. This is for Elise. What that Sarah Jane's gone. Can you believe that?
Sarah Jane's gone. Can you believe
that? Yeah.
But speaking of baffling choices, though, Artie and Elise were not able to identify the mysterious child.
I assumed, because we saw Ruth, I assumed it was the girl from the Rift.
I thought it would
boundary.
From the
boundary.
I just assumed it would be that guy's, because he said he had a child, and then I was like, oh wait, no, the child has like just been born, and I didn't really think more about it until the end of the episode when Belinda went.
You guys should have checked the credits. You should have checked the credits. If you were to theorize now before I drop the bomb, who do you think it is?
I couldn't see that. I didn't properly look at her.
When's this episode set?
2019.
I don't think
I have no idea.
Relevant.
I couldn't even guess. I don't know.
That child will be returning in the finale because Captain Poppy, the space baby, is now a space toddler.
What?
That is Captain Poppy, the space baby.
Why?
I have as much clue as anybody else does.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I have my theories, but you know.
And the space babies will be returning in the finale. Don't you worry. But yeah, that's Captain Poppy, all grown up into a little toddler.
I can't wait for the space baby spin-off. It's going to be great. I can't believe, it's going to be the war between the space and the babies. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Absolutely marvellous. For once, Artie being lost for words makes sense.
I feel like I've just broken. I feel like, when parents have to break to their kids that Santa Claus is real. Yeah. That's what it feels like. Yeah, good point.
Right back when you were 12.
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't think that was me actually thinking about it. Thinking about it probably wasn't me.
Yeah, maybe sure.
Santa, I think you messed up a bit.
I love how Artie and Elise have genuinely been stunned into silence.
Why is she in Nigeria? Wasn't she from a different planet? Why has she just popped up in Lagos?
She was also from the distant future.
It's going to be some time travel shenanigans in the finale because we know the space babies are in the finale, so it's going to be tying into something random.
Isn't that just great? I tell you what, that is. Oh, come on!
Absolutely marvelous.
I love at the end of an era when they bring back all the memorable characters. It's just great.
Like in the Jodie era, when they bring back Carl from the train at the end of Eve of the Daleks, there's just that guy that was on the crane filming the warehouse blow up for no reason.
I'm so there for that.
When that came out, I had to double take who that was. Yeah. I was genuinely sat there and I'm pretty up to date on Doctor Who, and even I was sat there
I am special. I am important.
Yeah. No, it's just, yeah. I mean, I do have my. Do you want to hear my theory? Do you want to hear my theory on?
Give us your theory.
So I reckon he says at the end, the stories are leaking out from the barbershop, right? So I reckon this is a part of the finale where basically, obviously, we know the finale is called the Reality War, so we know reality is going to be warped into some kind of way, and obviously Wish World as well. So I think that basically. I'm trying to explain it in the best way I can because it's kind of convoluted, but so is most of Doctor Who. I think that essentially Mrs. Flood is the god of stories, therefore the strongest one. Because
she's an Nancy.
No, I think she's the god of. I think she's like a new god, but above all the others. If that makes any sense. Who is the one who creates stories, and she can basically rewrite reality as she sees fit. So that's why, the Space Babies are coming in, because, as well, if you watch Space Babies again, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you do, there's a scene in that. There's a scene in that where they're like, "Oh, but the babies need a story. They need a monster to fear." And the
whole function of the ship is to create fiction for the babies.
So I think that's what they're doing.
Have you seen the clip of Anita Dobson talking about that?
Yes.
No.
I was there. I was at Cardiff Comic Con when it happened.
She says, she's like, when I think it's probably her and Brian May, like when we sat down and watched Space Babies, I was like, what on earth? What's all this about? I don't understand. But when I got the script for the finale, I was like, oh, everything makes sense and it all pieces together. So I'm going to throw a rogue theory out there if we want the cataclysmic.
Is Rogue coming back?
Jonathan Groff?
the destroyer of fandom theory. Okay, Mrs. Flood is the Doctor's mother, and the Doctor was a space baby.
This is giving a
so
little
the Doctor was a space baby, and then fell through the boundary and became the timeless child.
Maybe the space babies came through the boundary to look for him. Or maybe he is Captain Poppy, and you get a lovely bootstrap paradox where he instills his morality into himself as a child by going that really cringe speech where he's like,
Russell, if you do that,
when people need help, I never refuse.
I'm really struggling here with this. I get that's a theory.
So defeated ever.
But I am really struggling. But can we touch on? Can we get back to the episode at hand? Because one thing I thought that was confusing about it was, like Tharis, you were talking about maybe Mrs. Flood's the god of stories. All of the tying in of the gods in this one, and they weren't calling themselves gods. They weren't being, aliens perceived as gods. I found it a bit confusing as to how that fits in with the pantheon.
I get what you mean. I thought the same thing.
I think the only thing with that, I wondered, are they trying to not make it offensive? Because these are gods that I think certain people actually believe in.
Yeah. I think my logic though was...
But then I suppose they canonise the devil. So.
Also, he's compared them to Loki. So it's like, if you don't want to offend them, that can't be it. I'm sorry, you put me off with this idea that the Doctor is a space baby, and I swear, if that happens,
imagine the reaction.
It reminds me a bit of the theory that Bal and Binder were the Doctor's parents. If you remember that back in Flux,
as a yet unborn child.
That would be better.
No,
that would be better
no,
than the Doctor being a space baby. I don't think we should know the Doctor's origin at all.
Because then,
but a space baby.
That poor woman would ruin Sex Education and Doctor Who. We can't do both.
I just don't want to know. It's meant to be a mystery. It's meant to not be with these little things. Now I'm thinking about it. It's it's the midnight entity whispering his name, and it's all of those things. And is it leading up to it? And it's maybe the fact that they did that. They did it in 4K for the Belinda story. Was that actually just part of a fourth wall break that it all seems to be leading up for? Now you've got me overthinking everything. I just want to sit down and enjoy an episode, but there's too many random fucking loopholes everywhere that it's oh God, you've got to sit there, remember every character because it might be a fucking space baby.
Leave Captain Poppy of Space Baby fame out of it.
Leave Captain Poppy in episode 1 of
Captain
series
Poppy
1.
Was the only space baby I thought was any good. Now, I am criticising the acting of literal babies, but baby Eric had such a miserable face. His dialogue was happy, and he looked like he just pooed himself the entire episode.
He looks like he's been held at gunpoint. I love you, Ruby.
Whereas Captain Poppy, what a versatile actor of a baby. Every emotion was being hit. It was this matches the dialogue. Baby Eric, stop pooing yourself and crying, mate. You're being paid here. You're being
Get in the real world on my taxpayers' money, on my TV license.
The world's gone mad.
Poor Eric, when he grows up and he starts to become a Doctor Who fan, if it's still on air, and he just like scours the internet. And he's first of all slightly embarrassed that the episode that he was in was Space Babies, and then on top of that looks at the reception of it and goes, "Oh, that's not very good." And then on top of that, he looks at the reception of it, and everybody's criticising his acting, where he's like, what, 5 months fresh out the womb, and he's been shoved on a film set so his parents can make loads of money, and we're there going, "Smile, smile."
You are going to do to baby Eric what Star Wars fans did to Jake Lloyd, and I will not be a part of it, Joe.
No, I just think, like, what? Look, baby Eric, I'm sure you're a lovely guy. But the BBC or Bad Wolf, why hire a baby that just cries? Captain Poppy was a jolly little baby.
You're literally having to go at a baby for crying.
I'm not sure they can control that. I'm not sure they can be like, I want a non-crying baby.
I want to know how. No, but surely they did casting auditions. Like, you can't have the babies.
I doubt they did auditions. What would the line read be for that?
No, also, the point is, you see which babies are like not camera shy, because it's no coincidence that Captain Poppy, like Baby Eric was the main one in Space Babies. Captain Poppy is clearly the main one going forward, because they were like, this baby has potential.
Yeah, for the spin-off.
Wait, was that the same toddler?
Yes, it's the same kid.
It's the set. That's cool. Okay, I'm brought back round. Captain Poppy is the Doctor. Confirmed. That's so cool.
Can we talk about the other weird cameo appearance?
Martin?
Yes. I don't know why I said that like that.
Yes.
I just couldn't believe that. I was watching it and I was like, "Oh, it's the Ruth Doctor. Hang on." And then I like literally had to go back and was like, "What is? Oh.
I liked it.
See, I liked.
Here we go.
I liked that the Ruth Doctor was there, but her line was awful. It was she literally said like, "Blah blah blah. Maybe this will all be explained someday." It was awful. The most unsubtle way of setting up a future storyline ever. I was so glad to see her, but it was that line was just dreadful. Also, I've become confused because the Doctor don't do that. The Doctor seems to remember the Ruth Doctor's life.
I was thinking about this.
Am I an idiot, or is that confusing?
I thought initially there's only one line that ruins it. Initially, he doesn't remember her face. And I think even if you'd had, like, let's say people in real life who've been in a coma or whatever and have actual memory loss, often, even if they've lost those memories, they could still vaguely recognise. Do you know what I mean? Like, they can't place it, they don't know where the face is from, but they're like, "Yeah, you were in my past somewhere."
I'm with you for that, but he remembered the story of it.
There's then that one line that was a bit like too direct.
I think the problem is because it was left so open-endedly with Chris. I mean, of course, I'm going to find a way of blame Chris. No, I'm joking. Because it was left so in the way that it was. I don't blame them for kind of being, does he know or doesn't he know? Because, like, I'm not sure Chris Chibnall fully knew.
Well, I think the thing is, the Doctor, I do think it's made clear in the Chris Chibnall era by the end, the Doctor knows about the fugitive Doctor, but they don't remember the stories of their life. They know that they once were them, but they don't. Like, I don't get why.
But doesn't the 13th Doctor go into one of the fugitive Doctor stories in Once Upon a Time? So wouldn't they remember that?
Okay, so they can remember one story.
Okay, I mean, sure. I guess, yeah.
Because the whole point is she doesn't open the pocket watch, and if she opened the pocket watch, she'd get all those memories back. So did Shooty just get bored one day and be like, "Rubes, let's watch this," and then open the pocket watch?
Look at this. I would, to be fair. You were one day. You were like, "Sorry, I've had it for ages."
Yeah.
It was just a bit too convenient. It was a bit too convenient, the fact that he immediately went and he walked in and he was like, "Oh, I recognise you." Particularly as he'd just gone into the barbershop and the first thing he said, he went, "Oh my God, it's so great to see you. You're missing. You're missing," like straight away. And I was like, "Oh God, give it a second. I'm trying to catch up here.
I will say as well,
let me settle in."
With the Fugitive Doctor, I love Jo Martin. I think she's great. I'm glad that we see her again. However, part of me does wonder how on earth that scene plays to a casual audience member who started with this Disney Plus stuff. Because I sort of think about it like in the first scene, he says, to be fair, I have been corrected. He does say, "This is my first time in this black body," which you can interpret as, the first time in this specific black body. However, it's very clearly like coded as, "This is my first black body." Now, we know as fans that that's because he doesn't remember being all the others, which is fine. But what I'm gonna finish my point. My point is, as a casual audience member, if he says at the beginning, "Oh, this is my first black body," and then another black doctor comes, is that not confusing to like normal people?
Okay,
I don't know.
My counterpoint to this, and it's not a fantastic defense, but I think it is completely true. I have watched Doctor Who with many a casual fan, and every episode of Doctor Who will have a couple of moments that casual people go, "I don't understand that. It's Doctor Who. Someone will understand it," and then they move on. It's 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's gonna drastically drag anyone out of the story. I think the whole episode is based on vibes. Like, I think with including the Fugitive Doctor, it's very much like, I can see it when the story is post-it notes on the wall before they write the script. It's a brilliant idea. Do you know what I mean? It's like that ties together so cool. But I think they just stuck with the post-it notes and the vibes of, that'll be a really cool moment, that'll be really cool, without fully interweaving it. And it's like the 73 yards thing of you're almost not supposed to understand, which I know is frustrating, but I think it is very much just based in the vibe. And I think a general audience would just understand, that's an old face of the Doctor. Like, I don't think they think about it too deeply.
I think it was really cool to try and tie it in the sense of, the Doctor has kind of this past that was taken away from them. And, sort of in a sense, like, that kind of reflects a lot of, like, actual, like, Black history. I see what they're trying to do by basically saying, that, like, their history was stolen from them and having that reflected in the Doctor. I just think that, maybe it's just fundamentally that I just don't like the implications of the Timeless Child. And I don't think I ever fully will, even though I like Jo Martin. And even though it's been 5 years,
I love the other day someone called you out on Twitter. There was that. It was so funny. It actually made me cackle. Tharies had within like 30 seconds, he'd retweeted a post where people were like, no, let me say it first, and then you can make your defense. You know the line in the Star Beast, the absolutely terrible line where it's like something a male presenting Time Lord would never understand. Someone had tweeted like, people need to stop giving this line so much slack. It was 3 years ago. Get over it. Sure, it was a bit annoying at the time, but we've all moved on. And within 30 seconds, Tharies posts that. So he's like, "Oh, come on, guys, get over this line. It's from RTD2. It's not that bad." And then Tharies is like, "The Timeless Child was the worst thing I've ever seen on TV." And someone just screenshotted the two of them within 30 seconds and just put, "Can this man shut up?"
I have a defense. I have a defense, Your Honour.
There's no defense. You're a Jodie hater.
There's a very
You're a Jodie hater and a misogynist.
That original tweet I was quote tweeting.
It's just something a male presenting YouTuber would never understand.
That original tweet I was retweeting was underneath Philip Morris, who's like a big old racist sexism man who's like doctoring woke and dead. So I was like, stop going for that line and trying to use that line to prove your point. But also, I don't think that that's necessarily. I don't think that saying I don't think the Timeless Child really works is necessarily counter to that. I think they are separate. I know what you're saying.
Put my everything on the line here. You have an RTD2 bias and a disliking towards Chibnall era bias. I think that is unquestionable. Unquestionable. No, go on. Speak your truth, RT.
Well, I don't like to just hate on things, but I was about to say, is it possible to have a bias towards RTD2? But there we go. I think it's fine. I'm loving series 2. It's great so far. But back to the episode. What do you think of the map in the head?
That was so cool.
That was very clever.
I thought
it was really cool, but I just
thought
the labyrinth. Is it just me, or did that come out of nowhere?
I just got slagged.
No, but this is the thing. Of later.
Okay.
We'll do a defending Tharius segment.
Thanks, guys.
I thought the idea was brilliant, but once again, it's like the vibes-based post-it notes on the wall thing. But then you don't quite figure, why on earth is there just a maze behind the door?
I'm fine with that, like, being just a fact of it. But there was a shot.
Why is there a maze?
That doesn't...
Yeah, we'll make a maze in the barbershop at the back door in case anyone ever needs to conveniently get through it. It's like, what?
But that doesn't matter. My issue was more that, like, Anansi's daughter, there was a shot of her in the back of the barbershop, where, like, just watching or doing something sci-fi, I can't remember. And it's like, why in that moment did they not just have a shot of the labyrinth? Like, just something to establish it's there.
Have it on the computer screen. You could have had
exactly, because if you establish it's there, then when she starts doing the rows...
No, but then it's too obvious, because the barber in the scene would be like, oh, what, that maze that you've just put on screen and this story that you're telling, I wonder if they're connected, shall I stop them? Like,
no, I'm not saying have them on the screen. I'm saying earlier when she was chilling in the back, have an establishing shot that she is in the labyrinth, and then when we start to see the braids and she's talking about roads, then it's like,
why do you need to do the action?
That's what's going. Look, shut up.
I don't know. I don't think that's the worst. It was a bit weird that the maze is just there, but like it didn't. I liked the way it tied into like the actual story. I thought that was good. Like that was good. It's like a nice bit of stuff.
The idea was awesome.
It was really such a clever idea. Like I
and the shot as well. The shot as we looked down on it, and I wish there'd been a little bit more time spent in there. But I feel like this episode really suffered from a shorter.
I love as well at the end as well. They just had to conveniently be like, "Oh, Belinda needs to get out the barbershop quickly." The walls of time are compressing, so there's no longer a maze. Run. It's like, what?
we reverse the polarity. You know, it's. Can I talk about Belinda actually? Because that's one of my other.
Yes. You may.
If you feel like
we grant you this esteemed position of Belinda discussion.
One of my other criticisms of this episode. Where was she? I mean, not where. We know where she was. What I mean is, we're 3 episodes out from the end, and I feel that Belinda is a highlight for me, and I'm sure it's largely agreed. It seems to be anyway. And I sort of feel like, obviously, last week was the Ruby-centric episode where you don't see her really. It's all outside of the beginning, and I just kind of felt. Obviously, I understand what they're trying to do with making this Shooty's focal episode, and I absolutely understand that. But I sort of felt, okay, she's in the TARDIS because, you know, he's only going to pop out for a minute.
Did we ever figure out why the TARDIS left? Because it literally is like, oh, we don't want Belinda in this story till like the 25-minute part.
The TARDIS, I didn't think the TARDIS did
leave.
Doesn't
move.
So why did it go red?
Out.
It was freaking out because of the temporal lock being activated.
She couldn't get out, could she? She was pushing buttons trying to get out.
She didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
If she didn't know what was going on, you head for the door. You don't start pushing buttons on the console.
She doesn't know where the barbershop is.
She was like, TARDIS, tell me where the central point of this is. She was like, she went voice activate mode on the TARDIS and then see what happened.
Weird. I just thought it was a random conclusion.
When it comes to Belinda, though, I have the opposite issue to Thari's in that I thought she was entirely superfluous to the ending. So why not just have a companion-like episode? And the barbershop was already.
Episodes, I think not.
Look, we've both got issues with the 8-episode run, but if for this episode in particular, she was kind of superfluous, and the barbershop was already packed with characters. So I thought it was kind of random. Just joining in at the end, just being, oh, I'm here too.
I did think as well, like she just sort of. It gave me, again, to say his name, it gave me a little bit of a Chibnall vibe. It's like, oh yeah, and Belinda sat in the corner as well.
There was a moment, because I watched it with my parents, where my dad said, I can't remember, Belinda has a line where she just says something that she absolutely would not know. She's like, but if you do that, then the engines will overload and then it'll destroy. And my dad was like, why does she need to say that? And I was just like, well, probably they've realised there's a companion here, so she needs to say something. And they've given the Doctor a lot of dialogue, so they were just like, Belinda can have that line. Like, why would Belinda know that? It was just sort of like, oh, well, she hasn't.
But why would she know that it was called a TARDIS?
True.
I still think there's something to that, but maybe it was just,
knows.
I still think there's something to that, but maybe it was just sloppy. I don't know. I think there's something to that.
I don't know. I think there is, because as well, Conrad going and then Miss Belinda Chandra. Like, oh, I don't know. There's just a few things.
We don't need to talk about the last episode. What's the TARDIS?
In the Robot Revolution.
Time
what is the
TARDIS in space?
In the Robot Revolution, the Doctor never says, "This is my TARDIS." She goes, "Is that your TARDIS?"
Do you know what? We're in season 16. I'm happy with the word TARDIS being shared off screen. 15?
Yeah.
What series are we in?
It would be 15.
It's like series 21 of Grey's Anatomy, and they go, how did they know what an IV was?
That shouldn't make me laugh that much.
There's something else. The woman who he knew as the fugitive Doctor, I definitely think it must have been deliberate that they coded her like a Time Lord in the beginning. Because I'm not being funny, they have her full on using that remote thing to close that door. And I swear to God, when she uses it, it even does the little sonic buzz noise. I don't know whether that's...
Sonic buzz noise.
Yeah, but you know when it goes to the... obviously, she's not a Time Lord, but
I thought they were throwing a little thing, like with the barber as well. Like you've got the Doctor, the Master, the barber.
Like red herrings. Yeah. And also, the barber has like a line when he's trying to like show off, being like, "I've had hundreds of incarnations," which feels very much like you're trying to.
Where's Artie gone?
I don't know.
Guys, I think he's returning.
I thought he'd gone for a haircut.
They are returning.
I've had. Stop going after my hair, Tharies.
Whoa! I was making a reference to the episode, man.
It was a joke, Mark. A Christmas joke.
I've had a power cut, so.
Oh. Wait, hang on. You've had a power cut, but the computer's all working fine still. Or is it a laptop?
I have a laptop.
Oh, that makes sense. Say no more.
Checkmate. How's the Wi-Fi still on?
I don't know.
Maybe they're trying to freeze you out because you're being too loud.
Yeah, your neighbour has just slashed all the power to your room.
Well, I'm not going to get into my issues.
Go on. The audience wants to hear. Someone commented your landlord is actually Mrs. Flood on the last podcast, and I agree. Give us the inside gossip on your room.
No, because it's a bit gross, so I'm not going to.
Bit gross.
Is this the thing that do I know about this?
Well, it used to happen, and then it stopped for a bit, and now it's happening again.
You've got to describe it in a way that's family friendly enough that we can still keep monetization on this podcast. But we'll try and piece it together.
Quite often, I will go to my toilet, and I've been left a little present in the bowl, but with no toilet paper on it. None. So I don't know how it's weird. No, like, sorry, viewers. I didn't want to share that. It's gross.
It could have been worse. I was expecting it to go down a worse route than that, but that is bad.
Go on, what's the route you were expecting?
Well, it could have gone anywhere.
So what were you expecting?
We don't need to go into any of the other possibilities that could have arisen from roommates.
I can tell you more grim things.
Go on.
It's like stop doing and talk about
for the
situation.
Well, this is for the person that said they've listened to us just speak about the weather. This is
now the Turncast. I want that to. That's the name. We're on the top floor and we're supposed to share the bathroom between us, but someone downstairs has started using it, and multiple times since they have, the bottom of the bath after
they've used it has been covered in like grey sludge, and I don't know what it is, but it's actually grim.
Grey.
Can you get a picture of it for the next podcast?
Is it doing? I'm just trying to think if it might be, because fake tan sometimes washes off as green, and whether it's just gone colourless.
This is colourless. It's grey and it's grim. And Doctor Who.
So we've established Artie's landlord is Mrs. Flood, and the other tenants.
Mrs. Flooding the bath with grey sludge.
So yeah, she appeared, didn't she, in the hospital?
Oh yeah, yeah.
She appeared in the hospital. Good transition, yeah. And I also wanted to make the point of I really liked how they handled Belinda as the nurse and being like, oh, actually, I think it's this because my nan had it. Who obviously survived. I can't remember what it was. Something. It was something to do with the skin irritation that she noticed. That was
steroids.
There was something like
arthritis.
Yeah, there was something like that.
Rheumatoid arthritis, was it?
Probably.
Sorry, this is completely irrelevant to the actual point you're trying to make.
It's something to do with that. But
rheumatoid.
She obviously goes, you can't just leave me with her. It's my nan's birthday, and I was like, oh bless. But then afterwards, the old woman's like, I know what you did for me, darling.
That made me cry.
Yeah, I was like, that's really nice. I just thought that was really nice. I really like Belinda. I will be sad if this is it. Like, as in this series is it.
I don't know why, but I've got this ominous feeling she's going to die. I think she
I do too.
I hope she sticks around, but I think she's too expensive for the show, to be honest. Because
between a casting agent or something. She's begging you to say this. Yeah, Hollywood,
Russell,
you should take this.
Russell, I've had a look at the series. It's about
she's just been in spoilers for a different show. Actually, I'm gonna shut up because I know that some of you are watching the show, so I'll be quiet.
She's also in series 2. Is she? Oh, hang on. Was she just in the last? Well, I saw it on her Instagram anyway, so I know that she's in series 2.
Oh, well, okay. So she's a returning Star Wars cast member. She lives in America, so she's clearly getting American jobs.
Can we please just remember, this is Disney plus Star Wars.
But that gets less viewing figures. Andor's like, come on now.
Andor gets half the viewing figures of current Doctor Who. So
I love how the fact that Disney Plus is Star Wars, you're like, yeah, it's Disney Plus Star Wars, and then Disney Plus Doctor Who, you're like, Disney Plus Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's grading on a curve, really. Disney Plus Star Wars is like, that's a downgrade. Disney Plus Doctor Who's like, wow, Disney Plus are interesting.
They can have 4 cardboard cutouts this week.
Wait, are you telling me we can have more than 2 locations?
No, this new era isn't actually telling you that, I'm afraid. We've got a barbershop and a street, that's it.
Actually, speaking of the locations,
barbershop in the street, weren't they?
Speaking of the locations, though, Jodie era, I swear the budget was not that big, and they were going all over the world, and yet they built the most obvious studio sets for this market.
I thought it was all outside. I thought it was outside until
it might be an outdoor studio. I mean, it wasn't, but it could have, but still obviously a studio. Why weren't they going abroad to film on location? Come on.
As Stefan Powell says, they looked into it, but the practicalities of getting 200 cast and crew members flown over there, then accommodation there, then filming there. There are actual shots of real markets from that area in Lagos, in the episode, because they had a drone over the top.
And then did Stefan Powell say, the most breathtaking thing about this episode was, of course, the sets.
No, he decided almost every week. He decided this week to spend 5 minutes going, what animal are you scared of? And we got fantastic answers like frogs and snakes and worms.
I have started to notice.
What animal are you scared of?
I have started to notice with Unleashed, there's about 5 minutes in every episode where they just sort of do the most random thing you've ever heard of in your life. And you're like, surely you can fill the runtime with something a bit more, substantive.
You know how every single week he does like his own, he does a little thing, like he'll do the
work
clapperboard or something.
Yeah,
the work experience thing. For some reason, ever since you've said drone, I'm just imagining him sat in Cardiff, flying
the
drone all the way to Lagos, and just going, "Oh, quick, we'll get some shots of the markets for everyone."
The production of Doctor Who is just
his work experience this week was the most riveting one of all. It was jacket potato serving. That was it.
You sort of serve a fry up. Be fair.
I hate jacket potatoes.
I love the way he introduces that segment every week. It's always something like, "Let's see how I'd cut it in the picnic department."
Also,
time to go behind the scenes and see how they get the job done.
You've almost certainly seen them, but the memes about next time on Doctor Who Unleashed, and it's like the most pointless 2 seconds you've ever seen in your life.
2 seconds of them opening a door, or Belinda going,
I did,
and that's it.
What is the clip?
The latest one this week was her going, "Oh, when I was little, I stayed up for Eurovision." That's it.
Also, I can't lie. Like, it is the only time ever I have ever felt compelled to even mildly critique Varada Sethu's performance. But the way she delivers that line in the Unleashed preview, I thought it was like an off-the-cuff interview with Stefan, because I saw the clip on Twitter first. I didn't realise it was from the actual episode.
Maybe it's better in context without going, "Next time on Doctor Who."
I'm just going to watch this really quickly.
Maybe. I mean, my favourite, I did an edit the other day, which was "Next time on Doctor Who," and it's the bit in Destiny of the Daleks where Tom Baker goes, "Oh look, rocks!"
Yeah.
And then it cuts to black. I just think, if they had that back in the day, can you imagine some of the gold they would have got out of that segment? Imagine, I
do feel bad though, because Stefan is such a lovely guy, and obviously we met him at the thingy, and he's such a lovely guy.
I quite like Unleashed. I know that I just slagged it off a bunch, but like I still rather have it than not have it. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
This is what I was going to say.
My issue with Unleashed is simply that Doctor Who Confidential was so like unformal. It was like it was just it was all behind the scenes and true behind like just vlog stuff.
This is why I feel sorry for him though, because Stefan's there trying to present, trying to be lovely. Like, I just get the vibe that the crew are like, "Okay, hold the clapperboard. Yeah, nice. Let's move on." It's like, I feel so bad because he's lovely. The show's actually quite fun. But also, I do understand from the crew's perspective, they're probably doing long nights. They've been there like 16 hours. Yeah. They're exhausted and they're like, can we just go? And Stefan's got to be like, clap the clapperboard.
Sometimes you don't want a really happy Welshman being like, "Hello, I'm here to do my work experience. Why do I shout?" It was like 4 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning. I do get it. I mean, I still think the show is good fun, and there's some fun stuff in there.
I like it.
I just think sometimes trim the fat a little bit, guys. There's some things in here that aren't your best. You know what I mean? That's our Unleashed segment. I don't think I've ever talked about Unleashed in that much detail ever.
I don't think anybody ever has.
No, but that's I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the issue, is that it feels almost like outdated because it's like a proper formatted TV show. And I feel like it should be a YouTube show. It should be like something that people seek out.
Accesses it on YouTube. It's only on iPlayer for us. So like for all other countries, it's just on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. So
then
it's kind
still,
of like
why is it formatted? Why is it formatted as a TV show? It feels like something 20 years ago.
One for BBC Three first, because they don't show anything else on BBC Three. What else is on BBC Three? I don't know. Maybe there's something great on there.
Don't they have? They have one good comedy series. I say it's not very good anymore. I think, is it called The Young Offenders? I liked that at one point. That was quite funny. Yeah. But it's dropped off because there were two of them. I don't think they weren't brothers or something. They were like two best mates. One of the actors clearly doesn't want to do it ananymore, so there's now just like one young offender, but it's still called The Young Offenders. He's also not young anymore. He's about 32, and it's just like
they've done this. They've done the Stranger Things model. There's only so many times you can keep telling us their kids.
But should we try and segue nicely back to the story and the engine? Because I do think that it's a tricky episode to talk about because it's a solid piece of television. Do you know what I mean? There's not loads to say on it.
Yeah.
I feel like I had so much to say coming in, but I can't remember what exactly I've said. I really liked the characterization. I do think the whole, like, I can't remember if it's Abner or Abda or something, but Anansi's daughter, I feel like that could have been a really interesting story. It does feel a little bit wasted on the kind of 7 minutes that it actually went on for.
It's very expositive as well. You don't see, like, it could have done with like a flashback to like her childhood or something. Just
no. That would have been. They wouldn't have done that very well, would they? We need to think about how
they wouldn't have done that very well, would they?
They wouldn't have done. They would have had a little girl, like, and they would have been going, "Go to your room. I'm going to sort out your future for you."
Because I'm thinking, you know that episode, you know, The Whale, where they show the woman running.
We do.
Yeah, they show the woman running, and then it flashes back to her childhood where she's like running away from a war or whatever it was.
But she wasn't running; she was cutting hair, so it wouldn't have flowed quite as nicely.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you have to have them happen in the same scene. I don't know. You could. She was in more than one scene.
But this is the thing, though. I think it's difficult to make that as a critique as such, because I feel like it's the style and tone. It's like a play.
Yeah.
Like, I know I keep saying it, but it is all of these things. It's literally just, it's almost like a stage show. Like, I'd happily go and watch this as a Doctor Who stage show. So,
I would rather watch this as a Doctor Who stage show, I think.
Yeah. Like,
I do think it would just, it would work so much better. Because I did think that the camera work seemed kind of like apprehended by how small the set was.
I thought there were some sick shots.
No, I disagree.
One of the best shots of this entire new era is when the door flies open and the camera like whizzes round everyone who's being like jettisoned out, and the Doctor's holding onto the thing, and it zooms into him.
That's
all
true.
in one
Actually,
shot.
that was sick.
Cool.
I want to say Murray Gold. I think he did a really good job on the soundtrack this week as well.
It didn't really randomly play, I don't know, like Rory's theme when the Doctor was like doing something.
He actually wrote new music. He didn't go, Sutek's coming back, let's play the Masters theme.
Well done, Mr. Gold.
I have heard that apparently, like, he does compose new music sometimes, but they just go, now we'll use that instead. Part of it might be there. Russell might have gone, absolutely marvellous. I love the
marvellous. The master.
That can't be true.
I don't know, but like, and no, I just thought he did a really good job on the music. I just wanted to highlight that. I thought
it was really good.
Especially in some of the early scenes when he's investigating the barber shop, and there's kind of that sort of like slow rising tension, and he sees all the missing posters. A really nice motif there, I thought.
I didn't feel any slow rising tensions throughout the entire episode, and that's my biggest issue. I felt like they were just sort of grabbing me and going, "Here we are now. Okay, yes."
I don't know. I feel like the tension built up fairly well, but maybe I
thought everything until he got to the barbershop. I enjoyed the way they built that. But as soon as they were through the door, the tension left.
But this is what I find fascinating about this. most people I've seen, and if anything, I'd say I am more drawn to it being a little bit slow. But like Elise, you seem to have it's like rocket pace. I think it's slow.
No,
like it's
I
really
think the pacing's
slow.
all over the place. That whole bit in the middle was really slow because they were standing there talking, and then the Doctor's in space, and then he's back again. But just on the introduction quickly, because the introduction of the barbershop was really nice. And then what did we get? Doctor, you have to get me home. Yeah, we know, Belinda. Shut up.
That line, if I hear Belinda say it once more, I'm going to throw hands. Every single episode this series has gone, we'll start in the TARDIS console room. Oh, there's a new thing to focus on for our first shot. We've got the time rotor or a lever or a door. And Belinda goes, are you going to get me home yet, Doctor? And he goes,
I do think she was properly hampered this episode because she didn't have much to do, and I mean the way she delivered those first few lines, I mean she'd done them 1,000 times before, so I'm sure she was tired, but the whole just like, you've got to get me home. Oh,
the thing is, I
go on,
actually
then.
said that exact line in about 3 episodes, so I'd be a bit bored of saying it as well. If like,
For me, though, it was the way she just went, "Oh, go on, then, have your fun."
No, that was
It's
nice.
the same
I liked
thing
that.
happening every episode, though. Like, her storyline is just going, Doctor, get me home. Okay, let's pop outside with the Vindicator. We get outside. Uh-oh, here's an adventure. Okay, we get to the TARDIS. Okay,
I
we
don't
have
mind
to
that.
I think
actually-
that's
I
a
actually
good.
quite like
It's a
that,
good through
yeah.
line. The problem is they use the same line every week.
Yes,
all
that
you
is
need to
exactly-
do is use different lines. If
It's
Belinda said,
awful.
for example, like if she had a go at the Doctor, let's say this episode started with her having a go at the Doctor, going like, you know what it should have done? Should have started. The TARDIS lands in Nigeria. The Doctor steps out the door, places the Vindicator, and he's like, "Oh, should we go and look round?" And she goes, "This cannot keep happening. Every single time you suck
An
me out on one of these
acknowledgement of the
adventures,
fact that
I
it's
want to go
repeating.
home." And then he should have explained, like, "Oh, this is where I feel like comfortable. Omo, my family are here." And she goes, "Oh well, yeah, I've grown to care for the Doctor. I've grown to like love this man. Okay, fair enough. Like, go and spend a few hours, but I'm going to wait here, and I am stroppy." And that's why she waits for a bit, and then she goes to find him because she thinks troubles are right. Instead, it's just too. It was a little bit Ruby and the Doctor from season 1, where it's like, where's the
Oh, go on, then. We're best
I
mates.
don't know whether I fully agree. I think I would have the opposite opinion of less so much that the conflict was gone, more that just the conflict has become a little bit one note. The conflict is just, can
It's
I get home yet?
unimaginative. It is unimaginative, and this is Doctor Who. If it's going to be one thing, it needs to be imaginative.
I was going to say as well, I quickly really liked her little smile towards him as he's doing the Vindicator, though, because it's kind of a nice little hint towards. I thought that was a really nice subtle moment. Just I quite enjoy your company actually, but I won't say that out loud. But I'll give you a nice sort of smile to acknowledge it, kind of thing. I thought.
I want to give the benefit of the doubt to them though, because as much as I'm complaining, last week was Pete McTighe, this week is Inua Ellams. They will have been given a brief by Russell. Belinda is the companion that wants to go home. They probably, and I think that the issue is they should have just been, I don't know whether it was production schedules or what, they should have been able to read each other's scripts so they don't write the same thing. But I think...
but Russell will have read them, and Russell could have gone, maybe let's change the line.
but
it doesn't feel like it's going through the story with her wanting to get home. That feels like they just tack it on at the start. It's like Russell's gone, you write this story about this, you write this story about this, write this story about what you want to do. Brilliant. Or let me just get ChatGPT to write an introduction for a second. I can't cope with it anymore. I'm going insane.
Because I thought this
what was so good?
I was going to say, I thought the suggestion at the end of Lux as well is that she was more willing to kind of tolerate the Doctor's shenanigans.
This is what was so good about Lux and the Well, is that she was. It was creating a tension between them, and the Doctor was having to sort of win her over with the adventures. Whereas now it seems more like, I'll say I've got to go home, but let's have an adventure. It's, But
then it's like almost a soft reset as well every episode, because it's, she's saying that, but let's have an adventure. But she still seems to be really like, no, Doctor, my dad's going to sing at a pub and you need to be there or whatever. And then she's like easily convinced in the exact same way every single episode.
And what's fantastic is that from the trailer for next week, I can tell you how next week's episode starts. They're in the TARDIS.
I want to go home.
She
then
goes,
she hears Graham Norton.
They pop out the box, they put down the Vindicator. Rylan goes, "Welcome to the Interstellar Songcast." And she goes, "Okay, we're staying."
And then she's going to say that thing that I cannot believe it, about the... I could stay up late if I brushed my teeth. Like, I can't... it's not... Oh,
one thing I will say, I'm playing devil's advocate for Belinda because I do like Belinda, but I did like them bonding over that shared experience of having somewhere to feel safe. I thought that was really nice. Him going this is my first time feeling safe. And she goes, oh yeah, me and my family would visit India a lot, and it felt the same way. I thought that was really sweet. That's the thing. For every little thing that's kind of niggling at me with lines like that, there's another line in it that makes me go, "That's really nice."
Well, I think this is we are the nitpicks. The fact that the biggest nitpicks of this episode is Belinda going, "I want to go home," does actually speak to the quality of it.
Yeah,
because if we were reviewing Empire of Death or whatever, that would be the best part of the episode. So it's
That is true. We have to complain because we have to talk about it for 2 hours so that you can put it online. But there hasn't been an episode of Doctor Who that I am disappointed has been released, and that includes last week. Empire of Death. I was disappointed that Doctor Who had released that, but this series, it's all been really good.
There hasn't
just good.
There hasn't been an episode I would genuinely sit there and call that's a bad episode. I wouldn't say. The worst it gets is it's a bit mid, and that's the low bar.
Or a bit less than mid.
I also I disagree on last week, but But I sort of think that's kind of the case for a lot of them. You look at obviously I was thinking about this because I was thinking about, obviously I know Rosanna loves Series 2. Some of the Series 2 episodes we were getting back in the day, you look at Fear Her and Idiot's Lantern, and you kind of
think... Don't come for Idiot's Lantern. Oh my.
I hate Idiot's Lantern. I absolutely hate that episode.
Do you know what I mean? I sort of think we have had a remarkably solid run when you actually compare it to other series.
By this point, there's usually been a dud episode.
A stinker somewhere.
Series 6, you've got Curse of the Black Spot.
We've had a dud. I would say that, last week's, as much as I'll complain about it, so you can put it online, it is nowhere near it's nowhere near your Fear Hers or your Curse of the Black Spot.
But that's what I'm saying. We haven't had a woefully bad episode. That's also just... I'm a Smith fan. I think that's ridiculous.
Would you like to repeat that?
I like the Curse of the Black Spot.
Get out.
So hang on, let me get this right. You've been nipping and picking at episodes like The Whale and this one, but then you go, I like Curse of the Black Spot. No.
I like this episode.
The main issue with Curse of the Black Spot. The main issue with Curse of the Black Spot is how godly boring it is. Elise never watches any TV without a distraction, so she's never really watched Curse of the Black Spot.
Sorry, I've been locked into Andor. I haven't even been playing solitaire.
Really?
Thank you very much. Yes, genuinely. I know.
Legitimately impressed. That is character progression.
I'm not going to say the Curse of the Black Spot is my favourite episode, but I thought it was really cool.
You better not.
I'm not, but I have told you before that I do really like Series 6. Anyway, moving on. I think that... Sorry,
you go on. No, I'll let you. I'm
just because you were talking about us nitpicking these episodes, and I don't remember who was saying it about nitpicking, but I do feel like the issues that I'm nitpicking with this episode did get in my way of enjoying it more. So the last couple of episodes, I did just enjoy, and I go, I maybe would have changed that, or I maybe would have done this. Whereas this episode, I think, there were some things that stopped me from really understanding its full potential.
I was joking, by the way, when I said, all you because I've done it.
I wasn't when I said that I dreamed the Curse of the Black Spot.
No, I know you were. That's what makes it worse.
Fight.
Oh yeah, the one thing.
Darius, you can come after her all you like, but you're still a Matt Smith supremacist. So you know.
Look,
you don't remember him coming out as a David Tennant fan?
Yeah,
I always think about that all the time. How released the video saying I'm coming out, and it was as a David Tennant fan.
It wasn't
that was wild.
No, it's called My Confession, which is, if anything, even worse.
Right, I'm going to nip to
I say as well, I love the line of while Artie is using, probably going to find his next gift.
Lucky day.
I really likes the line of you want a story about ice warriors or Cybermen, but there is nothing more sacred than the human life. I thought that was a really nice doctory line.
Yeah, it was a really nice doctory line, except at the end when they sort of just do the fan service montage. He's like, what, you guys are expecting a fan service story? Well, here's the highlight of my best clips. It's like,
when people need help, I never refuse.
But also, I the only person that, like, obviously, right? Okay, me and Starries, we're not normal. We're not normal humans. We've analysed this within an inch of our lives before it's even come out.
We're not normal, man. We're not innocent men.
I knew this would happen from day one. The second we saw that spider in the trailer, I was like, well, the Doctor's going to do what she did in The Timeless Children and go, my memories, and then it was going to blow up. I thought it was really nice in the episode, and I don't think it's the episode's fault. I think it's the trailer's fault, but I feel like it was obvious where it was headed from, like, step one.
I do find it funny how increasingly defeating the monster with a clip show has become increasingly more common. Like, it happens, obviously, the Timeless Child does it.
I don't think it's that common, to be fair.
I don't know, Empire of Death sort of does
That's
it a bit.
That's not a clip show. That just doesn't... I think you've just got to not canonise it, to be honest.
I mean, I
don't think it happened. I wish I could.
I think the clip show is the new "we'll beat the Cybermen with love" kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the updated version of that.
Or let's get the Master and Cybermen to team up. What an original thought that is!
I want a Cyberman story where there's just Cybermen having their own story, because it never happens.
Agreed.
It never happens. When was
anymore.
the last one? Was it Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel?
No.
It depends. What you've got the next
Nightmare
Doctor?
in Silver.
No, because that's got that
Nightmare
woman.
in Silver.
I suppose. Yeah. No,
it's not good, but it is.
Is that the last Matt Smith one?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Closing Time
purely.
as well is also.
Oh yeah, I suppose Closing Time, but that's not really a song. I want an actual Cyberman episode.
You could kind of.
What do you mean?
You could kind of count.
What do you mean? I want a good one.
I want one that doesn't have the woman from Come Outside with Pippin the dog.
You can kind of count Golden enough in time.
No,
You
but
could
because
kind
the
of
master's there.
Yeah, but he's not yet, really.
But what, to be fair though, that's why it is that those are my favourite episodes of Doctor Who ever. Because the Master and the Cybermen are probably like up there favourite villains. Them two, perfectly written. Series 10 is literally peak. I don't think it will ever be beaten. It's
I didn't like it when it was first coming out.
I think
I love it now, but I didn't when I was first watching it.
The problem with Series 10 is the three-parter. It just doesn't
On
work.
a rewatch,
No, I agree.
I like it. I hated it the first time. I was like, I've completely lost my momentum. I
I'm with
really
Alfie,
enjoyed
actually.
Extremis, and then I felt like it just rolled off after that.
See,
But
when I initially watched it, Extremis was my least favourite of the three, and my
That's mental.
my favourite was the Pyramid at the End of the World, the middle one. Like, I love that episode so much.
That's quite good.
That's the worst. That's the worst
No, it's
one.
not though.
No, it gets
Unironically,
worse as it goes on.
some of the most engaged I've ever been in Doctor Who ever, and it's so corny. But I'm still blind. I remember being like, "This is new. This is fun." And
blind.
When they are at the end of the Pyramid of the World, it's one of my favourite Doctor Who cliffhangers ever. Bill is like, "You better get my planet back, you stupid old man," and she gives the planet to the monks, and the Doctor's lost his sight, and he's in the thing, and he can't do all the dials, and he saves that woman. It's so
right.
good.
You are right. I was mixing them up in my head because the start of part 2 is the worst bit of the three. Yeah, it gets worse as it goes. But
Part
you know
3
how you were
ends.
saying
fake regeneration. Don't get me started.
No, that's a bit silly.
Yeah. Oh, that peed me off back in Series 10. The constant ball tickling of the regeneration.
I remember when it was coming out. When it was coming out, me and Joe were obviously talking about it all the time, and I was complaining about it. And I think it was actually on the end of the Doctor Falls, you said this, but you were like, no, I really like it. It's just like the Doctor's holding it back, and it's like he kind of had to do the fake regeneration because it's like when you're holding in a Wii. And I remember you going on about comparing regeneration to holding in a Wii.
It's the best analogy because I've always said this, because people always go, "Oh, why sometimes is it like why are the regenerations sometimes so explosive?" If you've been holding in a Wii and then like a little bit. I can't believe I'm saying this on a podcast, but it's true. That's how regeneration works. Because once you open the floodgates, once David Tennant, he's been holding it off for a while. He's gone and visited all these people.
When you're holding away that first gush.
But it's even like they step into the TARDIS. It's like a porta potty. Like Tennant goes in and he can finally release, and then it's just everywhere.
Why is Matt Smith so?
Because he
was on
releases it.
Trenzalore
Yeah, he's
Trenzalore.
So then he's effectively got a tiny little bit left, and he just sort of does it.
He's got
but then why was Jodie's? Why was Jodie's so explosive?
Because she went to a bloody ice cream shop with Yaz. She plonked herself on top of the thing. She took all her companions home. She did all of that.
She grabbed the cornetto.
She sat with Yaz and was like, "Your contract's up, Yasmin. You've got to go." And Yasmin was like, "That's really sad, Doctor. Bye."
Speaking of shipping, because you mentioned shipping James Corden with Matt Smith earlier.
Really smooth from about 20 minutes ago.
yeah, nice. I see a lot of people shipping Belinda and the Doctor. I don't know whether you've seen this.
No.
And I just want to know the opinions on that.
I'm not 100% against it. I'm not
against it.
But I wanted to hear the floor, you know?
Why are you two against it?
I think it might. It just doesn't work from Belinda's perspective.
It would be Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, straight up.
But then again, Beauty and the Beast, you know.
Yeah.
You can't be calling Shooty Gatwa the Beast. He is a beauty.
I wasn't referring to Shooty. No. I was wrong.
That is the kind of misogyny you can expect from Barry's.
Typical thing. Cancel him on Twitter again.
Look, either way I was bugging. He got me in a corner. Either I was saying Gatwa was ugly, or I was saying Varanasethi was ugly, and neither were ugly. But anyway,
maybe you shouldn't be commenting on people's appearance, Tharis. It's a bit shallow.
Yeah, Tharis. Just because you're a hottie, it doesn't mean you have the right.
We can't all live like hotties, guys. There was a comment last week complaining that we kept saying Shooty and Belinda, rather than the Doctor and Belinda, or Varada and Shooty. I don't know if I even said those wrong, but yeah. No, I don't like it. I don't think the Doctor should have romantic relationships with humans. I don't mind it with other species. I don't like it with humans.
Yeah, but sometimes when the chemistry's there.
But it wouldn't. I'd want to see the Doctor with an Adelaide Brooks. If he was gonna,
I too ship the Doctor with the woman who literally shot herself because of him. She killed him.
I'm the Lord of Time, and they will obey me.
No, because if I think it's a bit Twilight. I've never actually watched Twilight, but I've heard that the vampire is like about 2,000 years old, and he picks up like a 17-year-old from high school, and it's a little bit different.
This is the Doctor and Rose.
Yeah, I don't like the Doctor and Rose. I like to pretend in my head that it's entirely platonic and they're just really good friends.
It is really weird watching Series 2 back, because I'm watching these, what are they called? There's YouTubers who are reacting to all of Doctor Who. They're like great Americans.
You mean reaction channels? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, there's a reaction channel. But I watched they did a school reunion reaction the other day, and it only really hit me now. The Doctor's incredibly suspect. She's 19 and she is acting like such a teenager. Like sorry, who exactly are you? It's like, Doctor, you're 901. Why are you attracted to that? It's a bit like Chris Hansen's about to walk through the door. It's like it is also a bit weird.
That, it is also obviously I love Liz Sladen and I love Sarah Jane in the revival, but it is weird that the almost 50-year-old Sarah Jane at that point is jealous of this.
No, that's
borderline teenage. No, I mean I get
she
it.
Was left. She was abandoned. The Doctor never contacted her again.
And he's gone for a younger, prettier model. I don't like it. And if they'd have actually properly gone into it and gone Doctor, why the fuck do you keep picking out these really young girls? I
feel like Sarah,
to be fair, that's made more valid that then Matt Smith gets Karen Gillan and Amy, who canonically is a model. He comes back, gets a 19-year-old, and then later on Amy. He's actually Leonardo DiCaprio. I like my companions under 25.
Doctor for you folks. There it is.
Adelaide Brooke is not looking so bad these days, guys. maybe like a
I
Bradley
still-
Walsh or
The
someone.
best love story in Doctor Who is the Doctor and Clara, and I would die on that hill. They're so clearly in love with each other, and it's so interesting to see because her and Matt Smith is basically acceptable. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like there's a weird power dynamic like with the Doctor and Rose. It's like, that's fine. And then when he becomes Capaldi, he knows he can't still have that attraction to Clara because that's really bizarre. So he then takes it out on Danny, he takes it out on himself, he takes it out on Clara until they reach the point where he's accepted, like, okay, this is more than just a romantic relationship. This is like a soulmate, but not in a romantic way as such. And that's why you get Hellbent, Heaven Sent. It's so, so good. Those two, best pairing.
I'm with you on that. But the reason that's so good is because it doesn't explicitly go into and they love each other so much. Like, they just, instead it's like, well, why is it wrong? Because he was always that age. He just now looks older, and she hasn't changed age, and she's actually grown so much in maturity. But it's like, they're more than friends but less than lovers. It's my favourite trope. Love it.
I think it's at its best. It's at its best at the end of Series 8 and then Series 9. But I can't be dealing with the Doctor in the Caretaker going, she's got a crush on the one that looks like me.
No, that's great. That's so good.
No, it's so cringy.
No,
And
it's
also,
not.
I never liked that.
Also, like, just the
I agree. Timing malfunction.
The fornicator, Chesterfield.
Barry, say something. You've always got something to say.
You've actually been cutting Barry's off for his last 4 points after, so that was really funny.
And it's bad when Elise is saying that You know it's bad when Elise is saying I'm getting cut off.
I'm
We need
standing
Rosanna
up.
here to yell at Tharies.
Yeah, just to say shut
She
up.
keeps him in line.
Even when I'm not saying anything.
My favourite thing, it ended up on the cutting room floor of the last podcast just for timing, but I was proper cracking up. There's we're all just mid-conversation, and Elise didn't say anything, but Rosanna just goes, "Can you all shut up?" Elise, what were you going to say? And Elise is like, I wasn't going to say anything, actually.
Can we please have an outtakes video of all of these?
All right, we'll do a clip show. We'll save the day of a clip show.
Yeah, put that at the end of once we've done this series, do a big montage.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
Shall we read the viewers' comments? Because I presume
about that.
a lot of those will be about next week.
Where are they?
I think we're going to have Arthur with the Instagrams, and then Elise, if there's any highlights from the YouTubes, we can.
We love you. We love you, audience.
We do. If you want if you want to engage with these podcasts, head over to @ConfusedAdipose on Instagram. We do weekly little question things, and also it's the best Instagram page in the world. Also, my normal account is almost 1,000 followers. So if you want to go and check that out on Instagram, Joe_Street. Go give it a look. I
didn't know you actually promoted the normal one.
I don't, but it's so close to 1,000 that we might as well push it over the edge.
You just want the validation.
I don't use it for any Doctor Who related things, and I don't even advertise it as a thing that exists, but it's so close to 1,000, we might as well.
Can everyone go and watch one of my videos, please? Because I'm really close to getting monetized on YouTube, and I'm also really broke, so I'd appreciate that so much.
Everyone keeps asking. Elise has a YouTube channel. Elise, I will pin your comment on this video.
Eventually, I have 2 Doctor Who ideas. One that I filmed, and I'm going to need to refilm, which I'll tell you about afterwards. But I've got another Doctor Who video idea that I want to make. But
you should film you doing the paintings. I think that would do good. If you did,
I used to. I've got a time lapse. I've got a time lapse of me painting Gallifrey from 3 years ago. It's definitely a really, really shocking video. I can only apologise for the editing quality of Elise 2021, but we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah, Tharies doesn't have a YouTube channel, so there's nothing to check out.
No,
don't bother with them.
No, it's like Sega versus Nintendo, isn't it? It's like
So Matt Matt Latham has said, you guys have the same joy my friends and I had talking about everything back in the 1980s. I love these comments. They're actually my favourite things ever. Like, it's so cute. Like, every single video, there's always someone saying, this is like the same vibe with me and my friends way back talking about classic kids. They make me so happy.
It's what I love about the Doctor Who community is I feel like throughout time, this group has always existed, but just at different time periods with different people in. It's Linda United.
Yeah.
RT, give us one of the Instagram comments.
Okay, so Solo Pineo. So
I realise we've given this one person who can't read.
Says,
we do that?
We'll get who Flood is in this capitalised THISC.
I think they just got it wrong.
Okay. And her plans will be explained in the finale.
The
Interstellar Song Contest.
Yeah. Right. It was a
definitely. I guarantee, I said it last podcast, I'm saying it again, I'm putting money on it. Mrs. Flood, there's going to be like a fun little adventure. It's going to be, whoa, this is the Interstellar Song Contest and Ryland's here. Oh no, there's a saboteur. And then like people are going to be jettisoned and it's going to be like, oh, this is cool. And then Mrs. Flood is going to stand on that stage and be like, Guys, I'm X character from X classic series episode, and here's me on an iPad. And then the Doctor's going to be like,
you can buy the DVD in the link description below.
And he's going to rush Belinda into the TARDIS. Belinda's going to say her favourite line.
Get me home.
Oh, you have to get me home.
And he will go, Belinda, I promise I will get you home. Dun 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 dun.
Do you
guaranteed
that Mrs. Flood is going to be revealed in this episode?
Yeah, 100%. She's going to do it on the stage. I guarantee.
That's the cliffhanger.
She's going to I reckon it's going to be and I think it will kind of slap. To be fair, I reckon she's going to kill the whole audience. So there's just going to be a dead Eurovision stadium. Mrs. Flood and one last announcement, and the Doctor's like, what? And they think it was this other guy who sabotaged it. She just steps forward, spotlight. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a musical number, and she will reveal some convoluted, I am the Rani's second cousin twice removed.
When it rains, it floods. It's going to be that.
It's coming. It definitely is.
I'm telling you, weeping, flooding. Maybe her first name is Harbinger Flood.
Well, that's a subtle one. We've had Harry as Harbinger, now she's just, screw it, it's just Harbinger. Harbinger Flood. No, but Belinda's parents, they're going to be Harbingers. We know her dad is called Harry, spelt Hari. What's her mum called? Add them together, Harbinger.
What's her mum called?
I think
we don't know.
No, I think they did.
So what are the leftover letters?
They might. Do we know?
Maybe we did.
Well, let's work out what the leftover letters are, and we'll work, and we can find a name out of them.
That just feels like a lot.
I think that's going to take a very long time.
Right, come on, guys. No, it's fine. We can do this.
BNGER.
Harbinger, takeaway.
BNGER. Harbinger, takeaway. What is it? What's left?
Sorry, lads. There's a new clip of the Interstellar Song Contest here.
Yeah, it's Graham Norton narrating it. It's quite funny.
Oh.
Rory Stock says, pray for the Queen, Jo Martin. She's now officially the cameo Doctor. Give her an episode.
I agree. She needs to stop being just a cameo because it's nice. She's really good. But give her proper stuff to sink her teeth into.
Yeah, I agree. It does feel like every time we see her, her appearances get shorter and shorter to the point where I think the next time she appears, it's going to be like a frame.
It's going to be a Doctor Who Unleashed.
Next episode.
She's she's hid behind Stefan Powell. She's like, hello.
Here's the thing though, right? I reckon she's got almost definitely in the finale. Surely. Because she's got a new costume. It's only subtly different, but it is a different costume.
Different.
Would you make a new costume? Because you don't even see the bottom of her coat or her trousers and stuff. Why would you go to the effort of making that if it was only for that 10-second appearance?
What if she looks off?
Maybe they didn't have one.
What if it looks off because the reality is different?
Or, hear me out, she changed her shirt. She may have changed her shirt.
I disagree. That seems highly unlikely to me.
Anyway, next comment from Elise.
Someone suggested that they're the ones who yap. I don't know if we put that into the running.
We'll
really
enter that today
into
the finale. Next week, we're going to do a Mrs. Flood Eurovision Song Contest reveal of the title of this podcast. We're going to start there. We're going to make it an anagram.
I thought you decided it incognito last night with only Elise.
I'm not that sold on the one. Joe's just picked that name because it's easily marketable.
Yeah, and it's got fun little segments we can do. We just read Rory Stock's comment. I told Rory Stock, and his face was like...
Okay. Before we carry on, go on. What's this great name?
Look. This is going to be an absolutely marvellous reveal. Please come back. Also,
I had an idea.
No, this can't be...
Everyone's on board, but I want to suggest it. Interstellar Song Contest next week. We should all put something funky on, because it's the Interstellar
Should we perform a song? Should we all come to karaoke?
Everyone needs to write, perform, and get a costume for next week.
Can we do... I'm happy to do black tie, I can't lie. I'll do a black tie for Interstellar Contest.
Shall we? Yeah, go on.
Why have a black tie? I'll find something.
No, you just dress smart.
She doesn't mean literally a black tie.
Like a 2013...
I'm sorry. That was, you know what? We've been recording for a while.
That's a fun idea. If we remember which we won't, that's what we'll do next week. Yeah.
Why does Artie look like a 2013 Minecraft YouTuber like that?
The lighting is kind of...
I hope he doesn't behave like a 2013 Minecraft YouTuber in the DMs.
The lighting is slightly giving, like Shane Dawson's like weird conspiracy.
Oh no!
It's a little bit...
Thank God he doesn't own a cat.
I know. Maybe that's why the neighbours are upset.
Right, well, you never actually heard Conrad Edmonds' decent episode. Can't wait to see Mrs. Flood sing ABBA. Wonderful.
See, there we go. It's got to happen.
Yeah.
No, they should definitely have what I was going to say. They should definitely have, how the Master had Scissor Sisters, because her husband's Brian May. She should come out to a Queen song. I don't know which one, but she should come out to
he should be on stage performing.
She should come out to "We Are the Champions," right? So imagine they've all been jettisoned into space, right? She's won. She's victorious, and then you hear. We are the
No. It needs to be. She's going to reveal her plan, and she's going to go, and you can't stop me now. And it's dum. And then it's like I'm a satellite. I'm out of control. And then it's like
all the people dying.
Yes.
I actually, you know what? I'm actually hyped for next week. I'm slightly scared about the Mrs. Flood reveal, but. In this fictional world that we've just created, it's going to be marvellous. Absolutely marvellous.
Absolutely marvellous.
Brief intermission here, but don't you worry, we're back. We're back and rolling. This is currently what I call a giggle, but we're going to swiftly move out of Artie, next comment.
We've got a comment. We've got a comment here from Liam. There's right. We've got a comment here. We've got a comment here from Liam. He's put in, just wasn't good. They're making the Doctor too human. He's from Gallifrey, not Earth. I'm not going to lie, Liam.
I didn't understand how the Doctor was particularly human in that episode. Other than, I suppose, the betrayal thing.
I think he fits into the community, but I sort of think that was a good bit of character development, I thought.
I think it's as I mentioned earlier, I think because of the bi-generation, it completely works character-wise. And also, I think when you've got doctors like David Tennant, they're way more human. Great
point.
Yeah.
Great point, well made.
No one else has made before this.
I like it. I think, I don't think it's necessarily humanity more than it is characterization. It's, it's the Doctor's got to be an alien, but he can't, he has to be readable and relatable.
Well, I think though it depends on the Doctor. this interpretation of the Doctor is a different Doctor, but I think he works for who he is. Because that Capaldi isn't all that relatable necessarily.
No.
But that's his Doctor, and I feel like Shooties is meant to be a more post-bi-generation therapied up Doctor.
I mean, I do also think there's an element of Russell writes the Doctor more down to earth anyway. I think Moffat was always more interested in the kind of like the sort of deeper machinations of the character, whereas Russell's approach on it was very, how do I make this, relatable and understandable to the everyman? Whereas Moffat was much more interested in, he's, this space being, and, for him, everyone's alive and everyone's dead. That's how he's, which is great.
Bro's
great way of looking at the character.
Those quotes.
Yeah, no,
he knows his stuff.
Wow. Hurt people, Faris, hurt people.
Yeah, well, exactly.
People.
Which I think is a great interpretation, but it's just fascinating to see. I think that's slightly a Russell versus Stephen thing. I think they both just sort of do the Doctor slightly differently.
Not including Chris Chibnall here, are you?
Right, why have you got to make it clear?
Before we get back into Tharis' Twitter rants, I've got two theories here. One from the board god Almighty, and the other one from Galaxy of Plastic. And Galaxy of Plastic thinks Belinda might be a Time Lord, but the board god Almighty, Elise, you'll approve, thinks that Mrs. Flood could be revealed as River or River and the Doctor's daughter.
No, I thought you were going to say Weeping Angel there. I would have got really excited, but I don't agree.
I think you need to let go of the Weeping Angel theory. I'm not going to lie.
I think you should shut up.
Okay.
Checkmate. I think River Song is not coming back to Doctor Who. I don't think Mrs. Flood has got anything to do with her. And I think that would almost be my nightmare scenario. If she turned out to be River Song, I would genuinely just be like, what?
I wouldn't be.
I'll tell you my nightmare scenario.
Is the flood.
Oh no, I'll tell you my nightmare scenario. My nightmare scenario is she turns around and goes, well, I couldn't keep calling myself the Master. Now, could I?
I can't lie. I hope that happens. I was thinking about this the other day. If she... No. If she goes, like, I'm the Master, and the Doctor's like, what? And she's like, only kidding, love. I wouldn't be that predictable. Like, that would be
good.
So good.
Like
which
that.
is also a meddling monk line, just saying, from Echo's Return, link in bio. But I think that would be a very fun line. Do you know what? Because that moment where because especially if she is like the Rani or Tecteun or a character like that, if she baits us with the Master first, we'll be so underwhelmed that when we get the actual reveal, we'll go, oh, thank God it's not the Master. So I think it'll work.
There is something funny with the idea of her just constantly revealing herself to be different characters.
I just wanted to let you know that A.M.G November 151 says, just for your information, the lads are cute and nerdy. People can be more than one thing.
Wow.
There
XD.
you go.
I don't know who you are.
Well, me and Tharis are hot. We're not cute. So don't we're smoking.
I'll be real, I'll take what I can get. That's fine.
Tharis, you're not cute. You are absolutely sizzling. And so am I.
Thank you. Yes.
Can you two get a room or something?
We will.
Oh, what have you had?
Do you know what? I did a few in a row. Carry on, Elise.
Annie Sharp has recommended that we name the podcast Hi Arthur Hi. But Miss Belinda Chandra is a direct anagram of Bad Rani's child's name. Isn't that funny?
Whoa.
That's
Bad
crazy.
Rani's child's name.
I feel like the Miss Belinda Chandra is going to come back because it's going to be something. I don't know.
The only thing that stops me thinking that is until very late in the script process, she was called Miss Belinda Finch. So that anagram wouldn't make any sense.
Why did they change her name?
Because Russell went, I wanted a name that sounded marvellous. And he kept coming up with different names. And he was like, Chandra, Belinda Chandra. There's this brilliant interview someone did with Russell where they're like, well, nothing in Doctor Who's a coincidence. So Belinda Chandra, Rani Chandra, and Russell goes, no, that is a coincidence. It's like, that's great. I love Russell. What a man.
To be fair, apparently it is a fairly common name from the area that Belinda is supposed to originate from or something, so I guess it's fair enough.
Yeah.
So
Kyle Dos Bantos says Skongo will play the bongos at Eurovision.
Yes. We need Skongo canonised.
Skongo bongos, yeah, hell yeah.
That should be my cameo. Russell should have just got me in to be Skongo.
Oh, they
playing
never get a Hootuber to cameo in an episode.
No, they never get a Hootuber to cameo in an episode.
There's lots of really interesting things on here. There's lots of people that have gone into detailed theories and stuff, which is very interesting, and I have read most of them. 5 Gigglers at the Gate of Who is another podcast suggestion.
5 Gigglers at the Gate of Who?
Yeah.
Is this a reference that I don't understand?
I don't understand it either, but
it sounds cool. It sounds like a fun reference. I don't get it.
Is it like Warrior's Gate? I'm trying to figure out where there's been gates in Doctor Who. I'm trying to make the connection, but it's not clicking.
Name of podcast should be Units, but start like U. Nits.
Ah, very good.
Is it very good?
I don't know.
I'll put that on the maybe pile. The positive maybe pile.
I like Dr. Disco suggestions though. 4th Great and Bountiful Podcast.
Yeah.
Satellite 5.
Good. Satellite
5. Satellite 5. And then there's 5 of us.
I reckon it should be Satellite 4.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Then Archangel Podcast.
I reckon it should be Satellite 4 now.
Archangel.
Archangel.
I like Satellite 5. What was the one before Satellite 5? That one.
The 4th Great and Bountiful Podcast.
Bit wordy though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Well, we'll enter those into the Eurovision Song Contest next week. Our version, the name contest. Artie, next comment.
DW 2012. They put The Fugitive was such a nice surprise. Also, Captain Poppy from Space Babies. What's that about?
That's crazy.
They did the emoji. I wasn't just.
I am baffled by the Space Babies because
it's crazy.
If they don't tie in a proper it's why I don't think it's impossible that the Doctor is a space baby. Why are they here?
But I feel like Russell just doesn't do random stuff like that where he's like, and now we're going to bring everybody back.
But it's Anita Dobson saying it all ties together. She says, when I read the script, I understand why Space Babies was an episode.
What if Belinda was a space baby?
What if Anita Dobson is a space baby?
What if everybody's a space baby?
But if everyone's
I think the one that makes the most sense... The one that makes the most sense, and I regret to admit it, is what Tharis was saying about being the god of stories, because that would tie into the whole bogeyman. Oh, the bogeyman, crikey! But yeah,
there's a question for Artie.
Oh, well.
I think it's the wrong way around because it said you don't like Minnie Gibson as an actor, but do you like the character of Ruby Sunday? I think you do like Minnie Gibson, don't you?
No, you said that her acting was a bit mid last week. I remember.
I decided last week that I'm not a massive fan. I think don't like is a bit harsh.
Those were your words. But,
okay. Well, she seems like a lovely person, but I'm not a fan of Ruby either. I think that there's no.
You don't like her as a person, or
no, Ruby the character. You're more on.
I'm not a fan of either.
Yeah, I'm not.
He doesn't like.
She's a lovely person, but I'm not a fan of her performance, and I'm not a fan of Ruby Sunday the character. I think that it's so sort of unexplored beneath the surface level. It's so I'm friends with the Doctor and I wish I had a family and that's it. And
one of those characteristics is gone now because she's got one.
Yeah.
She's got a family, but she's besties with the Doctor. I did think she was better developed last week, but I thought the episode was crap.
It's funny with Ruby because I think her best developed moments are when the Doctor isn't there, which I think is really funny. Her 2 best moments for development are 73 Yards and Lucky Day, both of which she's away from the Doctor, which I just think is interesting.
I will say, as much as I was saying that I'm not her biggest fan, I have for some reason been rewatching clips of All Right Tharis. I have been watching clips of Empire of Death. Empire of Death and The Legend of Ruby Sunday, and I do think she is very good in The Legend of Ruby Sunday. Get voted.
Why is ours gone into like night vision?
Sorry, it's because I'm opening Discord so I can see the results of the votes.
Is it a missing episode reconstruction by Ian Levine in the top corner? What's happening?
My laptop, the power cut still hasn't ended.
Oh, right.
No, my power cut's still not ended, so my laptop is about to die. I've got a really weird comment here. Vincent, 2012, says, "It's cool. I like Donna and Keanu Reeves is always goated."
Have they got their own podcast?
I think Vincent's copy of the episode was a bit...
Vincent slipped in from a parallel timeline.
I don't...
Imagine projects our reality, guys.
Sorry, imagine Keanu Reeves and Donna Noble as...
Is there another show that he's referring to that he thinks we're talking about?
What, a show with Catherine Tate and Keanu Reeves?
Does it say Catherine Tate, though? Because it could... Donna is a real name.
No, it says Donna.
I still don't
I agree with him, actually. That was my favourite part of the episode, to be honest.
Keanu and Donna coming in. That was
great. Can you imagine that?
Clean marvellous.
Doctor dies when the crowd is ejected. Belinda wishes for Mrs. Flood to revive him. That is OW directing.
Do you know what? OW directed? Well, that was a W theory for me. I really...
Smooth. That is exactly the vibe of Bill and the 12th Doctor. You know what was the scene we were talking about earlier?
As soon as I read it.
I would love it. Because we have seen that shot of Belinda and the Doctor in the trailer, like hugging as if she's just got him back, and maybe it was at the price.
To move on. It's been 7 years.
No, but it's the same principle of a scene. It's great.
You know how you were saying
7 years.
Yeah. 8 actually.
Series 10, 2017. Yeah. It's like 8 years ago.
Oh my god.
We're old.
Yeah.
No, sorry,
8 years and
you know
2
how
doctors.
You were saying that I had an RTD2 bias? I think you have a Moffat bias.
We were
I can't go through that information.
No, he has a Series 10 bias.
But it's not a bias because it deserves it.
I remember that, no.
Are you saying that the epicness of Empire of Death?
I just realised Elise is having an existential crisis.
I can't quite.
We were in year 9. We were like 14.
No, we weren't in year 9. We must have been in year 10.
No, year 9.
No, we were in year 9.
I remember that was like a banger of a school year. That was great fun. We were performing the Canterbury Tales as Series 10 went out. Artie wasn't, because Artie was trying to chat up a girl.
Right.
And you were in Canterbury Tales because you were chatting up a girl.
That's not that was a side effect of the Canterbury Tales. That didn't happen.
I wasn't in the Canterbury Tales. I can confirm.
I wasn't chatting up any girls.
I wasn't either.
I remember one of my friends when Series 10 came out being like, "Oh, I just feel like they're ticking a load of the minority boxes with Bill, and now she's gay." So
I remember
the
propaganda worked.
When we were performing the Canterbury Tales, the final night of the show was the night before Jodie was announced as the Doctor, and I remember I was so like, "Oh yeah, like she's going to be great as the Doctor," and there was a guy, and I remember having a big debate in the group chat because he was like, "Look, I don't have a problem with a woman Doctor. I just think they're doing it for ideological reasons. It's like Ghostbusters all over again." And I remember that the WhatsApp chat was popping off in 2017.
You got to think that was the era where that was like a big thing, though. People were still mad about Ghostbusters.
I remember screaming out of my window because my dad had gone to get my mum from the hospital, actually, and they drove into the driveway, and I called out, and I was like, "A woman Doctor," and he was like, "Not right now, Elise." And I was like, "Doctor's a woman." "Not right now, Elise." You've got to get the vibe.
I think you got to get your priorities in order.
I did.
I was more just like, well, at least it's not Moffat anymore. I think I was in that boat. I was like, which is funny because now,
like the fandom hated Moffat.
Which is funny because now I love Moffat. Which is funny because now I look at Moffat and I go, King.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Russell coming back is like eventually you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I've got an even better quote.
Okay.
It's from the Green Goblin. No matter how much you've done for them, eventually they will hate you.
Well, that's the thing.
Started this company.
You'll run out of ideas, and that's what happened to Moffat. And also, the hiatuses really damaged the show. So I do think.
Good thing one of them ain't on the horizon anytime soon.
Doctor in distress.
I really dislike this episode. Defo worst of the series so far, which is sad because I love them all. That was Big Man Sam.
Not when Robot Revolution exists, surely. Like, I don't think Robot Revolution is like awful, but like I prefer.
Robot Revolution was better than this week. In my
Yes, it
opinion.
was.
Yeah,
Definitely.
racist, so.
I think
James Swan said 4 out of 10, no plot, fan service for no reason, dialogue made up as they go, just a mess story. My issue with that comment is that all dialogue is made up.
No, but he said it as they go.
So like improv.
I think that's the key part of the sentence.
But there was too much exposition.
When you think about it, guys, all dialogue is in fact made up.
There was
What a huge observation you've made there.
There was too much exhibitionism.
Oh my god, that's what
absolutely marvellous.
There was too much exposition for this episode to be improvised.
Next week on Doctor Who Unleashed, Shooting Atwood goes to the remnants of the Doctor Who experience and cries at the sight of it all being gone.
Freya says Belinda wasn't shocked at all of the Doctor's previous faces. Joe Martin needs more screen time.
Agree on the second bit.
When has the Doctor ever said to her, "I can change my face"?
At the
very start of the episode, he says, "This is my first time being black, so I need to get used to it."
But I feel like would she not question that more?
Maybe she's
at least what is going on?
I've just realised that I've got a massive shadow on the wall. I'm trying to make shadow pop. Look at
Sorry, are we boring you?
I glanced at your screen and it's just.
Open Gangnam Style.
To do like an anime dance.
No, Tharis, don't you bring us back to 20.
Gangnam Style. That was.
Open Gangnam Style.
Terrible. Jerry's slowly realising he has to edit this.
Guys, come on, we're 2 hours and 55 minutes into this recording. Let's lock in. Guys, welcome back to Joe's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching this week's podcast episode. Your comments were absolutely fantastic. I'm sorry that we didn't get around to reading them all on the call. I read them all the time anyway, don't worry.
Way to end the podcast. Next week, tune back in.
Hang on. Before we finish, 6 out of 10.
Oh, yes. Sorry. You did it too early. You threw me off, Artie.
I did. I apologise.
Elise, what are you going with?
6 out of 10, and I'd like to knock Robot Revolution down to a 5.5.
Oh, no, that's very, very, very harsh. Very harsh. I am going to go with a 7 out of 10.
What did I give Robot Revolution?
Nobody remembers. That was 5 weeks ago, Harry's. Chop.
Yeah, fair enough. 6.5.
6.5. Fair. If I'm being harsh, it's a 6.5. But
I know. Actually, I changed my mind. You've convinced me up to a 7.
Yeah, because I think it's a solid episode. It's not amazing. It's not the best ever, but it's solid.
6.5 feels very, very harsh.
Standard
very
Doctor Who for me, like average Doctor Who episode, is about a 7. So I'd say
that makes.
Well, then that's not a good.
That makes no sense.
Then, does it?
It does. Because that's the sum of my enjoyment of it. Because episodes like Empire of Death, I cannot bear that there aren't about 5 numbers in between them and an average episode. Thus, Empire of Death has to go like whoosh.
Okay. Well, your ranking system is wrong. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys.
That's all from the Who crew. Tharis, round us out with your catchphrase.
No, that's what I call a giggle. See you next week.
This is now non-canon, not giggle. Never.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you. She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.